Thanks for staying with us. Let's turn our focus now to KwaZulu-Natal, where just over 360,000 people have actually been approved to cast their special votes, and almost 128,000 people will cast their special votes in that home province as well from their homes, and they will be visited by some of the agents there, the special agents, and of course a lot of focus on that particular province, which has also become the battleground, including some of the other provinces in South Africa. Let's now speak to our reporter Samkele Maseko, who is standing by. Samkele, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Let's just start with, how things unfolded today, especially because the IEC had been saying over the weekend that despite what we saw taking place in Hammersdale as well, they are expecting a rather smoother process. Was it like that?
Well, Bongiwe, at this point in time throughout the province, it was largely a very slow special voter day for those over 300,000 residents of KwaZulu-Natal who had registered for their special votes. I have seen a number of WhatsApp statuses, particularly complaints coming from the provincial secretary of the ANC, Nkosi Mtolo, saying the IEC is totally useless and is bumbling this special voter day for the very first time this time around, which will also commence again tomorrow, saying that they've had a number of glitches in their areas where the network was down, where people have not been able to cast their votes, particularly knowing that there are 5.7 million registered voters in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. I've also seen Dean McPherson of the Democratic Alliance. He has also cast his particular vote, but it's largely interesting that only 300 or so thousand residents of this province have registered for special votes, knowing that there are 5.7 million registered voters in this particular province. I'm just going to show you, as my colleague normally just shows you, this particular voting station in Ward 28 at the City Hall in Durban has effectively now been closed as it is 5 o'clock. These particular special votes, the voting stations open at 9 and they close at 5 o'clock. It is effectively now closed, wrapping up the first day of these particular special votes. I'm going to bring in Mr. Roy Moodley, who comes in from the African Movement Congress, AMC. Mr. Moodley, have you been able to cast your special vote, or when are you voting?
Not yet. I'm casting my vote on Wednesday.
Why do you choose to cast your vote on Wednesday and not do a special vote today?
Because I am registered in that ward and I'm capable of going there on Wednesday. My name is Roy Moodley. I'm the presidential candidate of African Movement Congress. And I've got branches all over the country, and we are at the moment trying to mobilize for Wednesday.
Essentially, Mr. Moodley, if you are looking at the current voter stats, there are 300,000 registered special votes in this particular province of KwaZulu-Natal. Out of those particular special votes, what's the tally at you are specifically looking at getting nationally, provincially and regionally?
When it comes to special votes, I think we will at least get a minimum of 10%, hopefully. But if we get more, it will be all the better, but we can do better than that.
But looking at this particular province, it is the battleground. You come from a particular political organization. Looking at the 5.7 million registered voters within this particular province, how do you see ultimately come voting day this province are panning out when it comes to your political formation and ultimately with the predictions that this province will be hung?
You see, African Movement Congress is coming with a concept, and African Movement Congress is not coming to elections because we can do this and we can do that. If you vote for me, I'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. We as African Movement Congress, we are coming with a proof of concept. We got solution for water crisis, we got solution for load shedding, and we can do many more things. Look at the grant. 10 million people are collecting 350 rand. Now, what can you do with 350 rand? Now,
but what number are you looking at getting from the registered 5.7 million registered voters in KwaZulu-Natal and the over 29 registered million voters nationally?
You see, my concept is basically to change the people's mind and put the cross at the right place. And if we can get majority of the votes, then only the people's minds will be changed and we can rescue the economy. Only African Movement Congress can rescue the economy and no other party, because we got the solution. Look at the load shedding. Load shedding is like the key to rescue the economy. Now, if the load shedding is gone, then you can create employment. Then the business will be revived. Then the employment, there'll be plenty of employment. We can create 5 million jobs within a year or two because of load shedding.
Where would you create those particular jobs, knowing very well, Mr. Moodley, that out of the registered voters in the country, poverty is at a skyrocketing high? What would be the biggest motivator for South Africans to go out and vote? Were you happy with the first day of the special votes today as the AMC?
Well, today, according to my information, I am happy with the special votes, but we need to change the minds of people, how they vote, because we had this problem all the time. Now, the voter must think, now, when they put the cross, and then there's problem, it is not the people that implementing it, it is the voter, because they put the cross in the wrong place. Now, if they apply the mind and put the cross at, like for us, African Movement Congress, we can make the change. We can create employment. See, like now, almost 10 million people are getting 350 rand. Now, that is creating criminality. So, you can't live with 350 rand. Now, 350 rand is gone within an hour. Nobody can live with it. Now, what happens? They turn into criminals. So now, we must get away from that social grant of 350 rand. Look at that employment, unemployed. The people work for 10 years, 20 years, and unemployment, they only get paid for maybe 6 months or 8 months. Now, that concept must change, because same like insurance. If you insure a car and the car meets an accident, the insurance does the whole thing. So just like that, they bring the car back to new or they replace it. Same like unemployment. If you're paying unemployment insurance, what is the purpose of unemployment insurance? The purpose is when you get terminated or dismissed or whatever the case may be, you must be able to survive. How can you survive with 8 months? So that concept must be changed, and only African movement can change that.
Did you get any messages of glitches from any of your potential voters out of all of the voting stations that were open today for the special votes?
No, not as yet. Not as yet. We didn't get any messages of any disruption whatsoever.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Roy Moodley, who heads the AMC, essentially saying that they are still promising voters to change their lives, and saying that he is happy with the first day of voter registration, despite there being some glitches in areas as Hammersdale. We do know that the ANC has complained, particularly their provincial secretary, on the competency of the IEC, particularly within this province, and how they've dealt with the first day of special votes, knowing very well that they are predicted to dip under 50%. There have been no complaints as yet coming from the Inkatha Freedom Party and from the Democratic Alliance, and also from the Economic Freedom Fighters, which are some of the biggest political formations in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, all vying for those 5.7 million registered voters in this province if there were to be that 100% voter turnout across the province.
And Samkele, before I let you go, of course, you speak about the political parties. They understand the importance of that particular province, but also at the same time, let's talk about what are they saying as a message targeted at some of those people in rural areas, especially when you look at the makeup of KwaZulu-Natal.
When you look up at the makeup of KwaZulu-Natal, you had parties in these various areas, those whom are largely concentrated within the Indian community. You go to the Democratic Alliance, largely found within that community as well. In the urban community, you've got the ANC, the EFF, in the rural communities, and the Inkatha Freedom Party, promising the people a better life for all. As you've heard Mr. Roy Moodley of AMC right now saying that it is particularly wrong to have over 10 million South Africans getting those particular grants, getting 350, saying that it breeds a culture of criminality. You've heard the EFF saying that they will increase the grants that are given to South Africans, promising basic minimum wage that they can live by. You've got the ANC that has also got the basic income grant that is promising people. You've got the Inkatha Freedom Party that is also, like all the other political formations, are saying that they will resolve load shedding, they will create jobs, also knowing that it is the responsibility of government to create create a conducive environment for the private sector to create jobs. But political formations are also saying that they will create those much needed jobs through EPWP, through those government programs that are there. Those are the words of the ANC, the EFF, the IFP, ACM as well, of Roy Moodley. So you've got those myriad of messages coming from political formations. Then you've got Action SA as well, saying that you must create a conducive environment for the private sector to create those jobs, the same manner in line with the Democratic Alliance as well. So in essence, there is a myriad of promises out there for South Africans to choose from this basket of political formations, but it will ultimately boil down to those individuals and their immediate needs and how they cast their particular ballots, and through their personal relations as well with political figures. Some may have an affinity to former President Jacob Zuma, some may have an affinity to the ANC through its various leaders, also the EFF through Julius Malema's connection with the people. Those who believe in AMC of Roy Moodley, who know him from his particular community, may also decide to go with him, along with many other political formations who may also choose the Democratic Alliance on how it represents them in their various constituencies where they live.
All right, Samkele Maseko, they're tracking developments for us in the province of KwaZulu-Natal.